Hello, my name is Pablo Gutiérrez-Solana. I'm sound technician and mechanical engineer. Today I'm going to talk about microphone techniques for live sound reinforcement. What is sound reinforcement for? Is to maximize pickup of suitable sound from the desired instrument, is to minimize pickup of undesired sound from instruments or another sound sources, is to provide sufficient gain before feedback. In my presentation, I will go through some parts which are important to understand why we use different microphones and microphone techniques. These are microphone characteristics, musical instrument characteristics, acoustic characteristics, microphone placement, stereo microphone techniques. First part, I'm talking about microphone characteristics. The most common characteristics of a mic are their operating principle, which is data inducer. It could be dynamic or condenser. The frequency response, which needs to cover the human ear response, which is 20 to 20 kilohertz, and directionality. Directionality can be omni, uni, or bidirectional microphone. As a secondary characteristics are the electrical output, which is the level of the electrical signal from the microphone for a given input signal sound level, and actual physical design. We all know that there are many kinds of microphones, from little ones to really big ones. The most common ones are handle, head-worn, lavalier, and overhead. Next, we will talk about musical instrument characteristics. This is really important because we need to know how an instrument or a sound source behaves. So let's see what is important to know about sound sources. The frequency output, or the span of fundamental and harmonic frequencies produced by an instrument, the directional output, or the three-dimensional pattern of sound waves radiated by an instrument, and dynamic range, or the range of volume of an instrument from its softest to its loudest level. Acoustic characteristics tell us about how wave sound behaves when it hits a wall, a floor, or a ceiling. The sound behaves differently. It depends on what kind of floor, what kind of wall, depends on what kind of material of the wall, and etc. The main behavior of the sound when it hits a wall is reflection, absorption, diffraction, and refraction. In this picture, you can see how a sound wave behaves when it hits a wall. It can just only reflect, and another case is when a sound wave hits a wall, some part goes through the wall and another part reflects. And the last one is called diffusion, and a sound wave hits the wall and it divides in a few lower waves. There is a law that tell us about how a signal or sound signal decrease depending on the distance from the source, which is called inverse square law. Microphone placement is really key what we are talking about, because because we look for certain ideas of what we cover. We need to cover the best sound of its source. So in this, when we place a microphone, we are looking for signal-to-noise ratio. Using directional microphones is generally the best way to achieve proper signal-to-noise ratio. It means that between signal and noise, we prefer signal. Okay, and we need to avoid noise. Gain before feedback, utilizing a directional microphone's angle of maximum rejection can provide additional gain before feedback. We all know what feedback is. I think is when we are in a live concert, when we hear a really high frequency sound, it disturbs us, and then we know what is feedback. And the sweet spot is the ideal point at which its sonic qualities are best captured by a microphone. Next, we are talking about stereo microphone techniques. In this case, are really there are many microphone techniques available to know, to understand, but these ones are the main ones to cover a big range of sources. These ones in this slide are commonly used to cover a chore, an orchestra, and these ones are called coincident techniques, which are related with the three ones, the first three ones. The MS mid-side technique is related with this one, and it covers from 0 to 180 degrees. And the spaced techniques is related with this graphic, and the microphones are separated, but the distance between microphones are places in order to cover the sound source. Maybe the sound source is too big, so or maybe this technique we can use it to cover a distance or a way. Some path of animal, maybe we can cover some distance from for something that is moving, and then we want to cover from the start to the end of one thing that is moving. So then we place many mics with a distance between them, and then with all of that we covered all the distance the object we want to cover. Well, and then finally I want to summarize my presentation. I would like to pass through three main ideas in case you need to work with a microphone. and these ones are to choose the proper microphone. To reinforce sound, you need to be aware of multiple factors. Another idea is that the placement of the microphone you choose is key to register the best quality of sound from the source. And the last one is necessary to take time to hear how a source sound naturally, to find a spot where to capture its sound best. Well, thank you for stay there. Thank you for watching my presentation. I hope it has been useful for all of you. Thanks again.